In the ancient texts of the Bible, amidst tales of hope and miracles, lie shadows, stories so dark they haunt the corridors of history. These are not just tales of divine wrath or human folly. They are profound, unsettling narratives that reveal the deepest fractures in the human condition. Today, we journey into the heart of that darkness to explore the stories that continue to challenge our understanding of faith, justice, and morality. Our first descent takes us to the very beginning, to the first family. The story of Cain and Abel is more than just a sibling rivalry. It's the genesis of murder. Imagine the scene: two brothers standing before God, offering their sacrifices. Abel, the shepherd, presents the finest of his flock. Cain, the farmer, offers fruit from the soil. God favors Abel's offering, and a dark seed of jealousy is planted in Cain's heart. The scripture says his face fell. Think about that moment, the envy so powerful it contorts a man's features, a storm brewing within his soul. It culminates not in a heated argument, but in a cold, calculated act. In a field where no one can witness, Cain rises up against his brother Abel and kills him. It's the first blood spilled on the earth by a human hand, staining the ground and echoing through eternity. When God asks, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain's defiant reply, "Am I my brother's keeper?" becomes a chilling monument to human alienation and the denial of responsibility. The story doesn't just narrate a crime. It dissects the birth of sin itself, jealousy, anger, and the ultimate severing of familial bonds. Cain is cursed to be a wanderer, forever marked, a living testament to the devastating consequences of unchecked rage. Now let us travel forward in time to a story of profound and disturbing sacrifice, the binding of Isaac, Abraham. The patriarch of faith is commanded by God to take his only son, his beloved Isaac, to the land of Moriah and offer him as a burnt offering. Can you fathom the weight of such a command? The journey to the mountain lasts 3 days, 3 days of silent agony for a father walking alongside the son he is meant to kill. The Bible's narration is sparse, leaving us to fill in the harrowing emotional landscape. Imagine the conversations, or the lack thereof, the questions in young Isaac's eyes. The most heart-wrenching moment comes when Isaac turns to his father and asks, "Father, the fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham's reply is a masterpiece of faith and despair. God himself will provide the lamb. He builds the altar, binds his son, and lays him upon the wood. He raises the knife. In that single, suspended moment, all of creation holds its breath. An angel's voice shatters the silence, stopping the blade midair. A ram is provided. Caught in a thicket, while the story is ultimately a testament to Abraham's unwavering faith, the journey through the darkness is terrifying. It forces us to confront the nature of obedience, the limits of faith, and the psychological torment of a test that seems to demand the impossible. The darkness here is not in the outcome, but in the willingness to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, holding the hand of the one you love most. Our path now leads us to the era of the Judges, a time of chaos and moral decay in Israel. Here we find one of the most brutal and tragic tales in the entire Bible, the story of Jephthah's daughter. Jephthah, a mighty warrior but an outcast, is called upon to lead his people against their enemies, the Ammonites. Desperate for victory, he makes a rash vow to God: "If you give the Ammonites into my hands, whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me when I return in triumph will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering." He is victorious. He returns home, his heart swelling with pride, only to be met by the first person to emerge from his house, his daughter, his only child, dancing with timbrels to celebrate his return. The color drains from his face, his triumph turns to ash. He tears his clothes in anguish, crying out, "You have brought me very low. You have become the cause of my trouble." But his daughter, in a display of tragic piety, accepts her fate. Her only request is for 2 months to wander the mountains and weep for her virginity, for the life she will never live. The text says that at the end of the 2 months, Jephthah did to her as he had vowed. The story is a horrifying collision of foolish vows, misguided faith, and human sacrifice. It's a stark warning about the danger of thoughtless words spoken to a divine power and the catastrophic consequences they can unleash. The darkness is absolute, a father's love undone by his own ambition and a daughter's life extinguished by a senseless promise. From a father's vow, we turn to a king's desire. The story of King David and Bathsheba is a classic tale of power corrupting absolutely. It begins on a palace rooftop. David, at the height of his power, should be at war with his men. Instead, he stays behind in Jerusalem. He sees a beautiful woman bathing Bathsheba. He wants her, and because he is the king, he takes her. He sends for her, sleeps with her, and she becomes pregnant. This act of adultery sets in motion a cascade of ever-darkening sins. To cover his tracks, David first tries deception. He recalls Bathsheba's husband, Uriah, a loyal and honorable soldier from the front lines, hoping he will sleep with his wife and believe the child is his. But Uriah's integrity shames the king. He refuses to go home while his comrades are in the field. David's plan fails, his desperation deepens, and his solution becomes murderous. He writes a letter, a death warrant, and sends it by the hand of Uriah himself. The letter instructs the army commander to place Uriah in the fiercest part of the battle and then withdraw, leaving him to be killed. The loyal soldier delivers his own death sentence. David marries Bathsheba, but their child, born of this union, dies as punishment. This story is a chilling portrait of how once in lust can spiral into deception, abuse of power, and cold-blooded murder, even in the heart of a man described as being after God's own heart. Finally, we confront a story of divine judgment so total, so absolute, that it has become a byword for destruction, the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah. These cities are described as being so steeped in wickedness that their outcry reaches the heavens. God resolves to destroy them. Abraham, in a remarkable act of bargaining, pleads for the cities, asking if God would spare them for the sake of 50 righteous people, then 45, then 40, down to just 10. But even 10 cannot be found. 2 angels arrive in Sodom and are taken in by Abraham's nephew Lot. That night, the men of the city, both young and old, surround Lot's house, demanding that he bring out his guests so they can assault them. The depravity is so complete that Lot, in a horrifying lapse of judgment, offers his own 2 virgin daughters to the mob instead. The angels strike the men with blindness and urge Lot to flee with his family, warning them not to look back. As they escape, fire and sulfur rain down from the heavens, utterly incinerating the cities and everything in them. In a final, tragic detail, Lot's wife disobeys the command. She looks back and is turned into a pillar of salt, a permanent monument to attachment to a world of sin. The story is a terrifying vision of collective moral collapse and the finality of divine wrath, leaving us to ponder the nature of a justice that requires such complete annihilation. These stories, from Cain's jealousy to the ashes of Sodom, are not comfortable. They are raw, visceral, and deeply unsettling. They force us to look into the abyss of human nature and grapple with difficult questions about God, suffering, and justice. They are the Bible's darkest corners, but perhaps it is in the darkness that we can most clearly see the desperate need for light. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this exploration compelling, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world.